Hello and welcome to Brodual. Today we're back with our countdown of the most popular mods for Skyrim. For the first time in this series, we have a mod that we've never personally installed, or even realised existed. Let's see if you can guess which one. Starting the list at number 80, we have Better Females by Bella. This is a texture replacer for all humanoid female faces, including changes to skin, lips, eyebrows and optional makeup. Objectively, the textures are definitely of a higher quality, and the mod does a good job in sticking to the NPC's original appearance. Sometimes we've found texture overhauls can completely flatten a face, removing all of the colour, but Better Females keeps all of the depth. The faces are a tad bit glossy and the additional makeup version is definitely a bit too out there for us, but I guess more choice is always a good thing. At this point in Skyrim's life, I personally think it's easier to install a wider character mod, one that affects most races and both genders, something like the Windsong character overhaul. But if you want to get into the nitty gritty of all the thousands of smaller character mods out there, then Better Females is a good place to start. Coming in at 79 we have the Female Facial Animation mod. This aims to improve the expressions of female characters for all races, except Argonians, Khajiits and Orcs. Given its name and the photos on the mod page, we initially thought this was made for more sinister reasons. However, from our testing, it works relatively well. Females will emote more and show more fitting facial expressions depending on their mood. If we see the comparison here, Gerda is supposed to be greeting a dear friend, but in vanilla she can barely crack a smile, and her eyebrows make it look like she's about to cry. Whereas on the right she actually looks happy to see the player. In vanilla, the facial expressions for both genders suffer from the same issue. Either they're barely noticeable, or they're too powerful and it breaks the structure of the face, or it just looks creepy. The mod does a good job in fixing that, but only for females. You can probably only truly appreciate the mod if you force the expressions using console commands, which makes it a handy tool for taking screenshots. During actual gameplay, you rarely zoom in close enough to an NPC's face to appreciate the difference. But altogether it works well, and we hope there's a male version coming in the future. At 78 we have the UI Extensions mod. This is a modding framework that lets other mods utilise new types of menus. If you've ever downloaded the Extensible Follower framework or AddItemMenu or one of a dozen other mods, then you've also had to install the UI Extensions mod. So for the average player it doesn't do much by itself, but it opens up several other useful and popular mods. One of those is the Dye Manager, which lets you use a new dyeing menu to recolour your armour. It also lets you use the Easy Wheelmenu, which lets you quickly and easily access certain commands, which is particularly handy for mods that add a bunch of micromanagement like a realistic needs mod. Its required use by other mods has led it to gaining over 625,000 downloads in just under 3 years, making it one of the most consistently downloaded mods for Skyrim. Jumping to number 77 we have the Winter is Coming mod. Inspired by the style of cloaks seen in the Game of Thrones, the mod adds craftable cloaks for Skyrim. After you slaughter a bear or a wolf, you can skin it for its pelt and make yourself a fancy new cloak. The mod adds a few dozen different variety of cloaks and hoods of varying sizes, styles and colours. You can choose heavily armoured versions or stick to something warm and light. The colours include slightly different shades of grey, brown and black for each type of pelt used. And then there's 3 different styles depending on the level of decoration you want on the cloak. The mod fully supports all races and both genders, including the often forgotten beast races. And finally, the mod is also fully compatible alongside Frostfall, with the cloaks keeping you warm in Skyrim's harsh, cold climate. The mod has been a favourite of ours since its release all the way back in 2012 and is still one of the most popular mods for Skyrim. And for today's final mod we have another addition from the Sounds of Skyrim series, this time it's dungeons. The mod adds 115 new sound effects to Skyrim's dungeons, caves, forts and sewers. One of the more fair criticisms of Skyrim is that its dungeons can feel a bit monotonous. There are several ways to fix that, and an audio mod is a must-have. Depending on the inhabitants of the dungeon, the mod will play fitting new sounds. This can be anything from the distant clanging of metal in a Dwemer dungeon, to the murmurs of the undead in a Draugr tomb. Just like the other mods in the Sounds of Skyrim series, the mod connects the interiors with the exteriors. So if you run into a cave to avoid a heavy rainstorm, you continue to hear the thunder rumble and the patter of rain outside. When trying to keep Skyrim fresh, it's easy to focus in on mods that add entirely new gameplay mechanics, but a good set of audio mods can be just as effective. So to get Sounds of Skyrim or any of today's other 4 mods, then you can find links for all of them down below. As always, be sure to leave endorsements on any mod you enjoy, be sure to check out g2a.com, and thanks for watching.